and he goes under the bench, smells the lady's feet, goes like, I mean, this guy took a big whiff because he didn't know I was watching. He thought the coast was clear. He didn't check his blind spot.
How far are you from the guy?
I'm like 150 feet away, so I'm not too far.
Hey, Sean.
Yes, Ray.
Are you a grudge holder?
I think I used to be more than I am now. I think that's part of the goal of the show and our lives in general. It's like that's part of being assertive. If you're completely one with yourself, Ray, you don't give a shit what anybody thinks about you.
That's one thing about me is I am
what anybody's done. You can let things go.
I'm a huge people pleaser. I don't bring up a lot of conflict. I hold it all in. But I don't think I really hold grudges. Maybe I don't know.
Do you think I'm a grudge holder?
I don't know. I need to know more about your grudges.
Well, we talk all day.
Yeah, you guys don't talk about. I don't know if I have grudges. I think you learn to let go of them.
How about this? What constitutes a grudge? Is it like because I think a lot of times, especially in comedy, there's such an envy thing involved.
Yeah.
Some little thing you saw or somebody did or somebody said. I've had that in comedy where I've swore off somebody for a while, and that's like could constitute a grudge. I think it has to be like a prolonged. I don't like that guy because of this one thing.
Somebody wronged you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody has to wrong to, I think, start the seed of a grudge.
Yeah.
I think my thing with I don't hold grudges, but it's very hard for a first impression to wear off on me. If somebody comes at me with a bad first impression, because I have it happen a lot. I think I'm usually a good judge of character, but we've all had those people where you meet them one time and you're like, oh, Frank's an asshole.
Yeah,
that dude's such a dick. And then one day you're like stuck with him on the train for 20 minutes and you're talking to him and he gets off and you're like, actually, Frank's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I
dude.
think I love
if he
him.
wants to grab a beer.
Yeah. I think I love Frank.
I have friends like that. You know what turns them? The minute for a comic where they go, I love that joke you do about.
Yeah.
This guy's not that bad, actually.
Yeah.
He's knocking over an old lady. You're like, he liked my
That was pretty
my
funny,
puppy
Frank.
joke. Yeah.
Hey, fuck her. Stupid, you spit in her face.
Yeah.
He went on that Proud Boys rant, but he did really like my joke about school buses. So who knows,
So
man?
I think it's a matter of that should be a goal. It's like to get rid of all grudges. But I think there's people who, grudges in history, I think, are a problem. But I also think that the way I used to be was I would hold way more grudges and was way angrier. Like I get heated now, but it's almost comical. But it's like I let it go way faster than I used to.
I hold grudges. I just thought about it.
I could see you holding a little bit of a grudge.
I was just
tried to,
thinking. I know. I tried to lie and make
himself from it.
Hey, but it took me 3 minutes to realize that I lied to your
pretty good.
faces.
What did you think of examples?
I just thought of some people that I hold grudges against.
And how long is
a
it?
current grudge? A CG?
I'll have some current grudges. I've been holding a grudge against one of my dad's friends for probably the last 25 years.
What happened?
He beat me up when I was a little kid.
You told me about this guy.
Yeah, I think
He beat you up.
I still want to kick his ass, but now it's at a point where it's like not okay.
He's a little frail.
He's like old.
He's dying.
Okay.
Let me ask you this.
You don't want to.
Don't sometimes when you realize like the situation those people are in that you kind of like, you're like, oh, that's where you have to like realize where they're coming from, and you go, them just living their lives is the worse than whatever I could do to them, or like say to them, or
And if I had that thought process, I would be somebody that doesn't hold grudges. But I think I just found out that I am a grudge holder.
Yeah.
That was the fastest.
I know.
Flop I've ever seen.
Well, sometimes
you said it, I was like, I think you do, dude.
Well, do you know what I do? Is I pull a George Bush. You remember when George Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction?
Oh yeah.
He really thought that they're
I think
that
he
was
believed
the truth.
it.
Yeah, me. Yeah. I really believed that I wasn't a grudge holder for a second, and then all the data started pouring into my head, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's some people that I want to get back."
You had your InfoWars for your own brain.
Yes,
your own Alex Jones inside your brain. Going, what are you talking about? You have grudges? What do you mean?
It's all the globalists. You said your dad's a grudge guy.
My dad. I mean, I think he's less, but when I was growing up, especially huge into. My dad is a pool guy out in Arizona, so for him,
it's got to be a pretty
It's a
fruitful
pretty
industry.
good idea. Everybody's got a pool.
Yeah.
So if somebody would not pay or whatever, he would go in and like take a vacuum out of the pool and like just something to where like the pool's fucked. Or sometimes he would get this product called Bee Gone. It's this drip that's so strong bees leave their hive. So he would go in the backyard, clean the pool, and then he'd knock on the door and be like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I just gotta pee." And then they'd be like, "Oh, pee." And this is like somebody who hasn't paid him in like 3 months. And he'd be like, "Thank you so much." And then as he was walking to pee, he would start dripping the stuff.
In the house?
Yeah. And then he'd come back the next week and they're like ripping the carpet up. And he's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And they're like, "Something smelly happened." And he's like, "It's crazy." And one time when I was a kid, when I was a young kid, I knew he was like, yeah, he had this. He had this like persona. My dad's the best, but he's also a goof. And he goes, "Yeah, sometimes Karma the clown just has to come around and like." I go, "Who's that?" And he goes, "It's me." And I was like,
That's when you know a true vengeance guy, when he turns himself into some type of superhero.
A name that he gave himself.
Yeah. Also, the weird part about that story is he's telling a kid about a thing named Karma the Clown.
Yeah, and even as a kid, I was like,
3 weeks, like, who's Karma the Clown?
Yeah. Well, one day he came to me because he's also a big biker guy. He's big into motorcycles, and he goes, he used to buy and sell bikes, like really cool custom choppers. They're really badass. And I was like, whoa. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to get a tattoo with my next bike." And I go, "What are you going to get?" And he goes, "Going to get a big Karma the Clown." And
he was like that into it.
Yeah, I go, "You can't get that one." And I was like 11. I was like, "Go ahead and skip the tattoo. Get the Harley, skip the tat, Dad."
Funny
You
thing
take
was
advice from an
like,
11-year-old son.
"I'm also a big Boy George fan, so I'm getting a big Karma chameleon."
Couple of tits on my neck. I was like, oh boy.
But that's interesting because let's be honest, like I know you're like, "Yeah, but Dad's kind of good, whatever it is," but fathers are like sons. So how much of that, and what percentage of that Karma clown is inside of you? What percentage of the it clown?
Well, boys.
Wait a second.
I've never seen him with the shirt off.
He's got a Karma clown back piece.
What a great reveal for the episode.
That'd be great.
And by the way, that sultry voice you've been hearing is our special guest today, our first ever guest.
First guest.
Charles Engle.
Did you really just introduce him 20 minutes into the show?
Well, sometimes people were probably listening.
People know
and
me.
like,
I'm an Astoria boy. They know
who is this guy? But do you have any of that Karma the Clown in you? Are you Casey
Everybody's
Jr.?
got a little bit of red hair in them. Sorry, I try to be funnier than that. I'm trying to think of what color.
No, it's okay. We got a little distracted because
Red
every time
nose?
I try to do something particularly hosty, Donnelly fucking just bullies me out of it.
That's what it was.
Maybe we should introduce our guest. He's like, "What are you? We're just chatting, bro."
Uh-oh. You have a grudge against me after the show?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I beat your ass. I'll film.
Look, he's calculating. He's Mr. Burnsing his fingers.
I get that Simpsons reference.
Good.
Thank
All right,
you.
good. It's a universal one. No, but honestly, he's right. Like, it's got to be part of you.
I think
at least a little bit.
I think I'm actually a little bit of the. I think I try to be a little bit because my dad is such a goof and my mom is such a strict, angry mom that I try to be the opposite of both. So I give everybody an excuse. If somebody does something wrong, I'm like, they're probably high, they're probably having a heart attack, maybe they had a stroke that day. Because I'm like, I've just, because I'm like, maybe I tried to do a million things to be like, maybe they're having a bad day, unless somebody's a real asshole, because I think it's so easy to be not an asshole. So if you're like awkward or weird, or I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, maybe their mom died or whatever.
And you're in your head, you're trying to believe it. Like
I'll give anybody any excuse in my head. Also makes me feel better. I think
that's a pretty healthy way to.
So then, do you even mean like what I was saying, like in a first impression?
First impression, I'll give a million excuses, even if it's a lie, because then I stop thinking about it. So I'll just be like, his dad probably died, and then I'll be like, okay, because then I don't want to. I also because the spiral brain I think is a big part about comedy. They're like, what if they don't even, was it the joke I said? Did I come off weird?
Yeah.
And then I try to stop the spiral brain immediately. So I'll be like, his dad died. And then I'll just be like, his mom got hit by a car. Something that's like crazy.
So that's the actual thing is.
Something that's like worst case scenario. And then I'm like, that would suck. And then I'm like, okay, cool. He's having a bad day. But if they're continually an asshole, I'm like, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
But I laugh about it because I'm like, what an asshole.
That's where the problem would come is if you continued every time.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this on the show where where you have friends where everybody will be like, oh, that's just Doug. That's just Doug.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
after years of the that's just Doug, you finally start to realize, whoa,
Doug's a jerk.
Yeah, Doug's got some fucking problems, and he's rude to everybody.
Well, I think we're all the age where I grew up with. I was a kid. I was a neighborhood kid, so I grew up like my best friends were like 20 years from like 7, 8 to now, and all my best friends were like my whole life. But now I got to during the pandemic was when we all started peeling off. We were like, you're a fucking asshole. You thought like you're
Really?
It all came to like, hey, fuck you. I had a couple like, fuck you.
Wait, how did that happen? Was that just because
I had
this is our friend breakup.
Yeah, sorry guys. I came
but it was it's a blatant friend breakup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
It's good. We've been asked people like, would you? Because of Banshees of Inisherin, how he just goes, even though it's an allegory and it's supposed to be it's about Ireland. But it's a friend breakup, and I'm like, well, nobody ever really does that. But we've
Oh man, I've had some brutal one. You know, it's funny. I have this in a joke, but it's we broke up, and then he doesn't have I haven't said this as a joke, but I have it as notes because I knew him. He's not my best friend anymore, but the kid I grew up with, like more like a brother. He didn't have social media when we broke up, so I stalk his mom's Facebook, and like every holiday, it'll be like a family picture. And every like Thanksgiving, I'll go onto like Patty's Facebook and see a picture of him and be like, oh, he's grew his hair out. And then I'll just be like, it looks good. And then I'll be like, oh, he's bad for you.
like an actual real breakup.
Yeah, I really.
You see him like out at the bar. He takes a picture with some other dude, and you're like, who's that guy?
Yeah. Hey, good luck, buddy. He's gonna break your heart.
So, but why? Because of the pandemic that happened? Because you guys were you in Arizona spending time together? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I came in. I came in from Arizona. I was in New York. I was freaking out during the pandemic. He was like, hey, come stay at my place. I'm going to the desert to my mom's place. You can stay at my apartment in like regular Arizona, not like desert Arizona, right? And I get there.
Off the grid, Arizona.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going off the grid Arizona. Where House Comedy is. Like, that's regular Arizona.
Yeah,
like, you know.
it's whatever, Scottsdale.
Yeah, exactly. And I get there, and apparently he thought I had wronged him on my way.
Ooh.
So he was holding the grudge.
What was the wronging?
He said,
If you can say.
He said that he was like, hey, you can stay in my apartment. And he said that I didn't say thank you when he goes, hey, man, come stay at my place. He goes, you didn't say thank you. And I was like, so then I get there, I land, you know, I'm very broke at this time. I have no money. I could barely afford the plane ticket. I get there, and I get there with my girlfriend to quarantine in his apartment. And he goes, hey, could you just pay the utilities for those couple of weeks? And I was like, I just don't have any money. Like, I'm sorry. I just have no money. And he goes, then he starts going like, well, how about you know, just argumentative, like, how about you fucking pay that? How about your girlfriend pays? And I'm like, what the hell? And then it turned into a whole.
So he just unwound.
Yes.
Wow.
So then I was like, I turned the keys. I was like, hey, I'm not staying at your place. We broke up for like 6 months. I told him like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I just don't want to talk. You know, we shouldn't be friends anymore if this is. And then I hung out with him 6 months later. He got caught up in the Fox News, the politics. Ooh. I go over there and he's like, whoever the people, you know, he's like, Chicago's the problem. You know, they're running around. Yes. You know, they're running around Chicago. If they're not violent,
those Democratic mayor-run cities.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, well, your neighbor's a gecko. So let's
yeah. You're out here in the wilderness shooting armadillos for fun.
You're in the dunes here. Don't worry about it. That's the funniest thing about that whole scenario. Everybody's always concerned about places they never go. The most concerned people about the city, New York City, are the people who live in the suburbs of New York City.
Yeah.
It's always like the city's going to shit. It's like, well, you're just afraid of them leaving and invading your town.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking that's going to happen. All the criminals are going to come out to you because there's no more Pickens in the middle of Manhattan or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm completely the opposite. Like, I don't like this is probably like to the other end of the spectrum that's bad is where when I hear that something happens like in another country, like for example, there was a certain conflict between countries, I'll call them Blussia and the Ukraine, and people were all talking about it. I did not care. I didn't want to talk about it. I was like, it's not happening here. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I know that's a bad way to be, but I just can't care about it. To the point where, like, even when somebody's like, oh, somebody got stabbed in Astoria where we all live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. And they're like, but it was by the Regal Theater. I'm like, that's so far.
Yeah, it's one block down.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. This is the first time that one of those things, you know, that's why that Jesselnick joke's so great, the thoughts and prayers. It's not even a joke. It's more like a speech where he's like, he hates thoughts and people on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you know what? When somebody dies or something happens, thoughts and prayers by people in the Ukraine, and he goes, you know what they mean? Your thoughts and prayers? Fuck all. What you're saying is, don't forget about me. I'm part of this too, and it's so true. But I'll tell you, Ukraine's the first one where like ex-Marines and this dude that's on the Bill Maher show all the time. This guy who's like an ex-Marine and now is like a pundit guy.
Yeah.
All these civilians went over and like fought for the Ukraine from here that were not
Yeah,
Ukrainian,
it's crazy.
not expats, like full on. So it was like, there you go. That's the only thing. But anybody who can say anything about Ukraine and Russia that's not from there is those dudes that were like, I'll do it. I'll go with my gun and figure it out. That's I've never. When have you ever seen that?
You think that's a little bit of
Kuwait,
addiction
Iraq.
though?
What?
Addiction to war. If you're going to fight in,
because did it? I might be wrong. I don't think it happened in Afghanistan. It did, maybe on a low scale, but you saw multiple stories about people going over to the Ukraine. I think that story was so messed up to people that guys who might like conflict a little bit and maybe COVID fucked them up as well.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, I'm gonna go give it a shot and go. You know.
Well, that's probably what happened with you and your buddy too. Is you got like COVID. You didn't have to focus on so many other aspects of life because everything was so stopped. Like because I had buddies that would like that got so deep into that political stuff, and it was happening right during that election. And I remember being on the phone with one of my best friend. I grew up with him, but he got very into that other side of the political spectrum as I am. And I'm just on the phone talking to him about like, man, I don't really go to Starbucks anymore or something like. Or I said something.
some regular.
They have
coffee
kids
shop
in the basement.
And and then but out of nowhere he goes, "Why? They're probably the same people that would vote for those people." Or no, I said I don't want to go to mom and pop coffee shops anymore, like as a joke, saying that because they charge me too much, and then they kind of treat me like I'm stupid when I just order a plain coffee. And then he goes, "Why? You probably want to go to those places that support your boy." I was like, what?
Yeah, you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about,
my
dude.
boy?
I call you to talk about tits in the past. I want to reminisce about the past and talk
Biden,
about
dude.
tits.
The only problematic boy you have is Roethlisberger.
And he retired.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they shut the case down.
Because football players retire at reasonable ages and politicians do not.
Yeah,
Become
nice.
crypt keepers. But
crazy.
Everybody had that. I've talked about it before. Everybody has that. I had that. I know somebody. I'm not gonna. I'll tell you after. Full on QAnon. QAnon. So like.
Couple comics did. Couple comics went to the.
Yeah, Kevin Downey Jr. and his girlfriend and Chrissy Mayer.
Yeah,
you know
Chrissy Mayer went.
Chrissy
I know
Mayer
she
went,
is.
and then people gave her some shit about it, and she said, "I went as a journalist." And I was like, "I thought you were a comic. What do you know about a journalist?" It's like, gee, you're just trying too hard.
That's intense.
Be one thing.
We're doing man on the street at the riot.
Doing man on the street. I went for the TikToks.
Yeah.
And the macing, but the. There was people that went down there. I think it was even more than just that. Also, the most interesting one to me of guys who went down there that were famous, the random dude that didn't do much after Mr. Show, that tall guy. I don't even know his name. He played. You guys watch Bob's Burgers?
Yeah.
Yes.
If anybody who's listening watches the guy who played Jimmy Pesto across the street.
Oh, that's
the
awesome.
voice of that guy was in Mr. Show back in the day. Did a bunch of bit acting. He full on went to the Capitol and he got
That's
fired
hilarious.
from Bob's Burgers.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
Jimmy
really?
Pesto got fired. Bob's got to be so happy.
They should have done a whole episode. I wonder if they did. I didn't watch all the episodes. But I think you're right, Ray. I think that's probably what happened with your friend. He was like, all right, now it's my time. Like, he went over bonkers. And
Well, he worked in the cooking industry for like 10. It's a brutal industry. It's the same thing. So when he was getting a little, in my opinion, like the politics and I think he took the wrong pill or whatever they call it. I was like, I think he's just had like a bad, like being a chef is a horrible life. Like,
it's hard.
And then now the pandemic happens and now you don't have work. And then you just realize your 20s were just working in kitchens like 17 hours a day. And then I was like, all right. But then he continually was an asshole. And then we were friends like 3 more times over the years. I would just do like a classic little sitcom. I remember my buddy took me on the road. And one day I was just walking to get a burger by myself. And I was like, you know what? And I texted him like, hey, man, you free for a call? And he was like, yeah. And
I love that you're making fun of your own texts and your own.
Yeah, I know. I'm very cheesy with it.
You up?
Yeah. Send a pic of my tattoo. And
you send like a picture of Halo 3 and you're like, Remember this?
Yeah.
Remember when we used to play Halo as kids?
We used to. You ever do this? We used to go and light each other's farts on fire. I used to come
No,
over
I
to
never
his
did
house.
that.
We'd eat a bunch of licorice, play Guitar Hero until one of us had a fart, and then you'd prop up and then put
Did
a.
you actually do it?
Yeah, but the thing was, he would get too close to. The joke was, you get too close to the butthole and burn each other's buttholes. That's a guy. That's your best friend, the one you trust with your asshole.
Hold on, but that happened more than once. I feel like
Yeah, when
the
we were
trust
kids.
would go away completely the first
Well,
time.
you'd be, you were kids. You'd be like, "Ow, stop!"
So did you live in the desert in Arizona growing up?
I lived.
'Cause it
I
sounds
lived,
like there wasn't much to do.
Yeah.
Supervision.
He had a house that was like the backyard was like we'd sneak into the desert and we'd smoke weed. We'd go car hopping, check car doors, see if they're open, steal the stuff inside.
Oh, wow.
Dude, one time somebody came home during the car. We opened this because his mom lived near.
He was like 14.
Yeah, like 14, 15, whatever. And then his mom lived near, because in the desert they started making millions and millions of dollar neighborhood, like $10 million homes.
Yeah.
And then and those people always let their cars unlocked, and then we would go and just like steal gum or their navigation systems. We'd steal all the Garmin's just for fun. And one day,
Really ran the spectrum on those.
yeah, gum or navigation.
Trident or a $400 navigation.
Yeah. One time my buddy came over, he saw our collection of navigation things. He goes, the CIA tracks those. And my best friend goes, what? And starts just hitting him with the hammer. He thought like a helicopter was going to appear.
Like the guy knows. That's
Yeah. And but a guy came home one night when we were in a car, and I ran away, and I hopped in somebody's backyard and peeked over the wall, and my buddy just closed the car door and stayed in the car.
That's out of a movie.
And this guy came out with a gun looking around and didn't open the car.
Holy
So
shit.
I just ran away into the desert for like an hour, and then we eventually like met up, made out, and fucked. But it was like a good, it was a crazy night. So much adrenaline.
Holy shit.
But at the end of the last call we had was like we were talking. We were again like talking. This is like a year ago, and he started getting angry again. And I was like, "Why are you angry?" And he like didn't resolve the. He's like, "You never said thank you." And I was like, "Whoa!" It's like 2 years ago.
So
You know,
did you,
I-
so were you
I
just
hold-
like thank you and it stopped?
No,
or-
I was like, hey, I think I said thank you, but also like, I was just like, hey, if you didn't think I said thank you, because he did a couple other things of like, kind of, he did a couple of things like, okay, well, if you didn't say thank you, I'm gonna make you pay my utilities, even though I know you don't have money. So then I'm gonna force you into a corner and be like, well, since you can't pay, guess you got to get out of my fucking. It's like a
Oh,
trap.
Like by proxy.
He sets like little traps, and I was like, hey, you're setting traps. It's a bad friend move. And then he blew up. He always goes big air. And he started getting really angry. And when he gets really angry, he goes, never talk to me again. Fuck you. And I knew he was going to say it. And then he hangs up. So I just went like, I won't. I like synchronized with him because I know what he was going to say.
Yeah.
So I said like, fuck you at the same time. It turned like a T-Pain song. And we auto-tuned. And then I just said, yeah.
Climb the charts.
But maybe we'll talk again. I don't know.
So right now you're on the outs.
Yeah, I don't think I think now I just do the same thing where I'm like, well, he's a fun kid to grow up with. He was like a wild kid, and it was fun to have a childhood with like a crazy kid.
But you might just be too different. That's the
Yeah,
QAnon
that's what I
guy.
think is what happens. He probably thinks I'm a huge asshole. He's probably telling the same story in another pod at the
It
same
has his own
time.
perspective.
Yeah, exactly. He
But he's
probably
like, this fucking guy didn't say thank you.
Yeah.
Let him stay with me during the pandemic.
I did a dating girl move with this guy also. I took his name out of my phone because I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I did the same
Not that it
thing.
matters,
Yeah, you swipe and you delete.
Yeah, exactly.
that's-
And then this guy, I forgot I knew it kind of, but I got a text from his number being like, Merry Christmas. Like, this is like, I would say 6 months after.
Oh, that's weird.
What ended up happening, he went off because I told him, hey, take care of your family. Don't worry about this stuff. And he freaked out on me. And then I got 6 months later, I got a text, Merry Christmas. And I was like, it's Christmas time. I wrote back, Merry Christmas. And that was it. And then then once again started sending the other, not QAnon now. Now they're like,
boy.
They've changed to like now it's like, ooh, check out this Joe Rogan interview on like perception or like psychedelic. It's like we need to do this. Everybody needs to know the truth. Now it's about like the truth.
The
or
truth is
something.
out there.
The
You just
truth
got to
is
take
out
enough
there.
mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's so
Yeah.
freaking transparent. It's insane. So
I think I hold the thank you grudge thing.
You would hold that?
I wouldn't hold it, but like, I probably wouldn't hold it in the way that he did. But if a friend didn't like, I felt like they had like bad manners with me, or I felt like I was taken for granted, I would be a little bit like, yeah, if I can say thank you, this guy like, or like an I'm sorry. I don't like when people don't say sorry when they fuck up because it's such an easy thing to do. And
I agree with
And
that.
you can even lie.
Yeah.
and say I'm sorry. That's just all I wanted. Because I had a thing with an old roommate before where he did something that like he knew like fucked up to something in my room and never just said like, "Hey dude, I'm sorry I did that." Cuz I would have been fine with that. I didn't care like that I had to like clean up.
It's weird to me when the go-to is not saying I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
what
the
I
type
mean.
where I'm
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I probably we're the same with this. I over the sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say sorry for sorry, and then it's weird because you'll get people who obviously are more confident, be like, "Don't apologize." Like I've gotten like strangers.
Yeah.
I said sorry because I'm in their. I'm not even in their way. I'm just going next to them. Like,
Yeah.
this is too close. Oh, sorry. And they're like, "Don't apologize," and like very aggressively. I've had a woman told me.
I don't like
recently.
that.
What?
I don't like don't. I like just if you can think that, but just like, oh, thanks. Why do you got to be like, don't apologize? What are you, gay? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You automatically feel like you're getting like in
Yeah,
trouble or
yeah.
something like that. So I probably over this. I go overboard with the sorries, and then what was the other one? Oh, and then the thank yous. I'll always. I'm like, thanks so much, really appreciate it. Thanks so much, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Everything's
yeah.
always thank you, which probably. Is
I
want to
stop that. I want to stop doing that a little bit. I
Which
want to
one?
stop doing the
over thank you.
I'm sorry. I want to stop doing like
Oh.
the like if like I'm scooting by somebody and be like, "Oh, sorry," because I feel like it makes me look like a bitch.
mm-hmm.
Well, that's not the only thing, but yeah, it's one of them.
Feels like it makes talking about my breasts. Feels like it makes me look like a target. You know, like somebody like I'm not like, you know, I'm just saying it because I have this weird thing of like in that specific scenario of being like a big guy in public in like a tight space.
Yeah.
I automatically have this insecurity where everybody's like, "God damn, we're all crushed in here on the train because of that fat asshole.
Yeah.
It's his fault. If he
His
was,
fault we stopped.
yeah, if he exercised, you know, just a little more, we'd be just chilling on the train comfortably. But now he's like hovering over me, and I know that that's probably not the case.
That's what I think.
It's not the case for.
Oh, it is.
When
Charles
somebody-
I'm
says it is
definitely
the
thinking
case.
that.
That I don't
Damn
think
it.
is the case, but I will say this: that's a good topic too. Do you blame anybody on the subway for stuff? Because when somebody, I don't like on the subway where somebody they're on their phone. We watch the whole exchange, not even exchange, the whole movement. You watch them on their phone, realize the last millisecond it's their stop, and they go out and they really I'm barreling through the already closing door, and then the door obviously open back up again. They're gone, and then you have to sit there for 3 more minutes while the doors open and close and open.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
on their way to getting out of there, and this moron has to go. Oh, my stop! Boom! Barrels through the doors, and instead of just knowing when you're getting off instinctually or being aware, and then fucking it up, and everybody loses a couple of minutes.
New York is definitely a city that made me irrationally react to minor inconveniences in my time.
I just react to I'm way more used to it now at this point.
Well, but I mean, like seeing a situation like that happen, I'm like, I'm gonna be 5 seconds later than I
Yeah.
fucking thought I was gonna be. Is this
Yeah, but-
bitch serious?
That's when you get the. That's when you need the eye contact from stranger, where you go. That's good. I think that helps it. You go. What the fuck?
And then
You just get a little exhale.
then you don't get it back, and you're like, oh fuck.
Oh,
it's me.
that's crazy. Yeah. When I look at somebody and they're like, "What?" and I'm like, "You know what? We're supposed to hate that guy who we're never gonna see again
Yeah.
together."
We're mind melding.
Yeah.
Well, it makes you feel like you're not alone in the world.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice.
I
Yeah.
have an even more local version of what you're talking about with like the stabbing in Astoria.
Yeah.
This morning, I'm coming back from my girlfriend's house, and there's a dude. It's one of those things where you can hear the echoes of a guy's crazy ramblings. And
Yeah.
you don't know if there's two people arguing.
It's
that
like
are over
thunder.
something. Yeah,
He's one clap away.
Yeah. This is from the heavens. You hear the sound, right? And I'm hearing the guy go berserk and say all this batshit crazy stuff, and I'm kind of looking around. I look across. He's on the other side. I go, oh, he's on the other side. I'm good.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
He's 100 feet away from me.
Yeah.
Oh, he's killing those two kids
Yeah.
over there. He's killing those two young boys.
Oh my God, it's all the way on the side of the track.
He's not gonna jump across the track to get me.
I'm protected by my steel guardians, the train.
Then you watch. That's the fun thing. You're like, look
Oh,
at
you
that
check
freak.
it out. I went check that out for another. Yeah.
Ooh, I have a couple of just crazy subway things that happen.
hear it.
This is the most wildly professional pervert and crazy thing I've ever seen in my life. This might be the craziest thing I've seen while waiting for a train. I was on 42nd Bryant Park waiting, and then I get off the train. There's only one other guy who's like down by like 50 feet away, and there's a lady on the bench. You know, there's benches in the middle at
Yeah.
those, and there's this guy, and I just keep looking at him because I'm like, what are you doing? You're loitering weird. And it sounds like a very white person at an HOA thing to say.
No, it's somebody who's been here a while thing to say because you can tell.
Yeah, you're floating a little weird.
Yes.
You're wading in the water with your dick out. Something's happening.
You're
and
being a mindful. You're being a Karen, but it makes sense because you're
Yes.
like, I know this is not. You're not walking right.
yeah, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he gets a little bit, and then he starts putting on some black gloves, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he starts looking around, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I just like, what are you about to do? And he goes under the bench, smells the lady's feet,
No.
goes. Like, I mean, this guy took a big whiff because he didn't know I was watching. He thought the coast was clear. He didn't check his blind spot.
How far are you from the guy?
I'm like 100. I'm like 150 feet away, so
Yeah.
I'm not too far. And I see him cock back and take it all in. Get out, take the gloves off, get on to the next train.
Oh my god. Like
And
a
it's
lizard.
Yeah, and it's like, what am I gonna do? I didn't tell the lady. What am I gonna go ruin her life?
Yeah.
So now that every time she sits down, she's freaking out.
Also, can we address the fact that he's crazy enough to be that perverted, but smart enough to be a germaphobe and put the gloves on?
Yeah, he's like, ew, I don't want to touch the ground.
Now let me get a whiff of those tootsies.
Yeah, let me smell your feet with my nose. But ew, ground, subway
Yeah,
ground.
exactly.
Subway ground.
Gotta put my gloves on for those. Get these Home Depot if you're looking.
You dainty pedophile.
It was like a Mission Impossible
Yeah.
stealth-like moment.
It was crazy. I
But
was
just for a
disgusted and
foot
proud
fetish.
at the same time.
I would have been, if you were closer, would you have been like, yo, that's one of
I
those
don't know. I
moments.
think I would have been too afraid because he was so prepared. I was like, he probably has a knife or something.
Yeah, this isn't his. That was not
Yeah.
a. This is my first rodeo type of
Yeah.
foot sniffing. That sounded like he's probably been called out before, and the dude that called him out didn't live to see the next day.
Yeah. 'Cause-
I've never seen anything. That's insane.
and the lady wasn't a
And
10.
no- and-
So he was, I mean,
She wasn't a 10. I don't think it
Did
really
you see
mattered.
her feet?
Well,
I didn't see her feet.
So, well,
we
you're
talked
true.
about feet a couple weeks ago.
Oh, feet are in.
Feet
Feet
are
are in.
in,
This
baby.
guy offered me feet pics, and I sent a screenshot to him. I mean, he offered me a couple hundred for some feeties, and I sent it to
Wait,
my.
is this true?
Yeah, this guy sent me a DM like, hey, you know, same thing happened. I posted a clip on my podcast with talking about feet, and he liked it, just some random guy, and he goes, hey, so crazy. What a funny clip. You know, just
Hey,
trying.
love your comedy.
Yeah. And he goes, you know, how about you send me a couple for 100? And I was gonna message back like, you know, 200 is my rate, but I'll give it to you for 150. Just try to, you know, just get a little upsell. And I sent it to my girlfriend as a joke, like screenshotted it, like, is this crazy? Anyway, I'm about to send these. She got so mad. It turned into a huge fight.
Yeah,
'Cause,
it's creepy.
I didn't know she was, my girlfriend is like that type of girl to get mad, but I didn't think she would get that mad, and it turned into an argument. Sometimes I'll press all the buttons on the elevator to get somebody mad when we are arguing. That's my fault.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can't even, she was like, this is disgusting. I'm dating you. It's perverted. And I said my body, my choice on purpose to piss her off.
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
just to
not
put the
good.
cherry
Real
on top,
bad
huh?
move.
Wow. Let me ask you this:
Oh.
would you, same situation, but it's her?
Yes.
You'd be totally.
Send them. I don't, if it's
Oh,
your
really?
feet,
See, we were talking about it, and
but I've had no money for so long that I'm like, get the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
But here's the thing, we were doing the thing about it's not the idea of doing it for me; it's the idea of the people that they, you and her, that be encountering.
Sure.
'Cause anybody who's ballsy enough to ask for you that, because here's the thing.
He unsent it after
he?
I didn't reply.
Well, we'll say you're out to dinner with your girl. Here's what I kind of thought of. Like, I didn't care about it at first until you said the thing about the people you'd attract. Like, say you and your girl are out to dinner and her phone buzzes and she's like, "Oh shit, it's Darren 3869. I gotta send him. I
be
gotta
right
send
back."
him my right foot, or we're not gonna be able to pay for this dinner." And you're like, fuck. Okay, now they're interrupting my life.
That's true. If it gets to that point to where we every foot pays the bills.
Do you have anything else?
It's part of your girlfriend's bio: food stamps and feet pics.
Great book.
Great book.
Do you have anything that you'll do in an argument with a significant other or somebody that like is because you said the thing about like throwing in a little
I'll
jab
know
like
the
that?
thing. I'll be like, I know this would piss them off, and I'll be like, boop, and then I'll be happy because they'll be like, now I'm angry, and I'm like, I feel so good.
You know you've said about 4 instances of karma clown.
Yeah, I
During
think
this
that's
whole-
it. No, I have a red nose on. No.
he drops the coffee cup and just has the usual
just says that.
suspects moment. Dude, I would
Father
do
and
this.
Son by Cat Stevens starts playing. Take your time. Do all right.
Dude, I would do this thing to an ex, and I can't do this anymore because she did punch me directly in the face for it once when we were drunk. But like when she would yell at me and get mad, I would lip sync with what she was saying, like to her.
Oh my god.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like she would be like, "See, you don't listen," and I'd be doing this.
Oh
my God.
I don't know why.
You're
It was like a little kid thing to do.
To piss her off.
And she hated it.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
that's why you did it.
I know.
Oh my god, dude.
So what happened is you're mouthing that, and she goes, "You know what?"
What it was why, and maybe that wasn't why she punched me. We were drinking, we were kids, we were young, and I was doing that, and she did punch me before.
Let me ask you this: what's the other Subway thing? You said you had the feet one.
So one was a thing. This was a two before I think when I first moved to New York. You know, I'm still a nice pushover kind of guy, but you know, every day here you get a little bit more skin shaved off.
yeah,
Here.
Well, that's your
bristles.
Clark Kent, and then when you take off the jacket, you're
That's my Clark
KC.
Karma.
Yeah.
Superman of tiny injustices.
Karma Clown.
One time I was on the subway, and then you know when you think you know somebody and you keep kind of like, I think I know that guy and blah blah blah. And I thought I saw this guy, and I was like, I know that guy like plays guitar at an open mic that I go to down Oliver's, right? They used to do an open mic.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the guy who plays guitar. I talk to him every week. And we kept making eye contact, and I was like, this is stupid. And I just like I went up and I sat next to him, and I was like, dude, what's up? Open mic. And he was like, oh yeah, I thought that was you. And I was like, oh, what is up? And I was like, how's your sister? And he was like, what? And I was like, last week you went to visit your sister in Texas? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh. All right. And he was like, how's your job? You know, you work at this restaurant? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And then we kept going, and we're realizing we don't know each other at all. But we didn't say anything. It was a weird, it was a time that I should have been like, we don't know each other at all. But we didn't. We were both too afraid to say that.
To pull the trigger.
Yeah, that we just kept being like, oh, well, he's like, if I did have a sister, I'm sure she'd be doing. I'd be like, yeah. It was the weirdest moment. We should have just said, like, we don't know each other.
It was like the most polite thing that happened. That should. It would have been agreed upon in politeness to go, hey, man, I'm sorry, I thought you're somebody else.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good movie.
But where
I don't know. I'm thinking like it sounds like a real good beginning of a thriller.
Or like some sci-fi thing where your backgrounds get switched out and you think you know them, but you know them from a different background.
Whoa.
It's like an interdimensional thing.
You do know each other, but from a different realm.
You do know each other, but I know you from a different background.
Oh, different realm.
Yeah.
Different dimensions.
Different dimensions.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh, dude.
What's it called?
Huh?
Foot stamps and feed pics.
Feed
It's
pics
foot
and
stamps.
When we start selling feed
stamps
pics.
and feed pics.
Food stamps and feed
And
pics.
that's what they should call feed pics. The money you make from feed pics. If you're doing it to pay for your rent, it should be called foot stamps.
Foot stamps.
That's
Nah, dude, I'm on foot stamps.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on OnlyFans.
Yeah, they don't take them here. It's great.
OnlyFans is paying me my foot stamps.
Yeah, they should have FBT or something.
But dude, that's the kind of situation where, because I've been there before. I full on it, but that is. I think you're right. That like it takes two personalities that are trying to be nice to turn around and go, I'm not backing down.
Yeah, now I would just be like, this is hilarious. Isn't that crazy? We don't know each other.
It's actually that's a pretty funny coincidence. I had one of those with a fake Zach Brazow.
Oh,
where I
really?
thought I saw, do you know Zach Brazow?
Yes.
Comic.
I think yes.
Like a friend, like somebody that I've like hung out with a lot, and I thought I saw him on the train, but like I don't know, my eyes are bad or something, and he was like far, and like somebody else's head kept weaving in front of him. I was like, that's Brazow. I was like, so I keep like moving towards him, and I keep moving towards him, and then I start texting him, and I'm saying like trying to like do a bit, like I'm like, that's a cool blue shirt you have on, and then finally he's like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm in Boston, and I was like, yeah, it's not you. And then as I got closer, I was like, wow, that guy looks less like Zach Brazow than anybody.
It's a 40-year-old Asian woman.
Yeah. Dude, I have a similar story where the person was on the train seeing me, but texted me at first. And then I looked at the text, put the phone back in my pocket, didn't respond, and I could have. And I realized, oh, they're probably on the train. So I pulled my phone back out, and sure enough, there was a picture of me on the train. And I went, hey, how are you? Hey. And I looked around like crazy, and it was a comic.
That's huge, actually.
Yeah.
It was a dude. It would have been like, dude, I texted you. I watched you ignore the text.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It was like enough time.
That's so.
It was enough short a period of time where I put it in my pocket for a second, and it was like, they're on this train. That's also,
Thank God.
It's also a movie thing.
Yeah.
And I pulled it right back out. I'm like, what's up, dude? And then got the picture of myself. I'm like, I win.
Thank God.
Like you were the cop in the Thriller. They're
Yeah.
on the train.
Yeah. It's like the tail scene from The Departed.
Yeah. Get the tail.
I had a thing where I was at this like cookout, and my buddy Nate, I was there, and I send a text to him, and I see like, yo, who is this? And I'm like, oh, Nate doesn't have my number saved for some
Ooh.
reason, so I'm gonna fuck with him. So I start saying like wild shit, like, dude, whatever, you little bitch, and like saying like I'm gonna kill him, and I'm saying like I know where he lives.
Don't
Hey,
be silly. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I'm
People
like, I
my
can
friends
see
have done
you.
this to me.
Yeah, but guess what? It wasn't Nate's number. It was
Oh
a
my
complete
God.
stranger's number.
You saved his number wrong?
Yes, I had a wrong number for Nate in my phone, and I see Nate at this party, and it was like kind of perfect for a little bit because he's looking at his phone the whole time.
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like, I'm like, why is he being a bitch and not coming back at me?
And, like, fucking around
saying
there.
something that there's this random guy saying like, I could see you, I know where you're at right now. Oh, I bet you feel safe. And I'm saying, like,
Wow,
crazy
you're
things, dude.
crazy.
I
bet you feel safe.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Oh my
doing
God.
like I'm doing
Sending
like
pictures
lines,
of dead pigs to him.
I'm
Jesus
doing like lines from Scream, like I'm gonna got you, like no, but like I'm sending all this stuff, and then finally like one text comes back, and it's like, seriously, man, I don't know who the fuck this is, and I see Nate's like got his phone in his pocket, and he's like eating potato salad, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, Nate, what's your phone number? And he tells me, and I'm like, whew, for the last 10 minutes I've been texting some stranger.
Please tell me you wrote back.
I
and
did.
said,
I was
okay,
like, dude, really sorry. Thought you were.
a friend of mine.
I thought you were a friend of mine. I was just trying to play a prank, and the guy never responded back.
Oh, probably, yeah. Probably he killed himself.
Yeah.
How about this?
Took a cyanide pill because you found out his secrets.
Or he probably mistakenly killed somebody coming to his door, like a
FedEx
UPS guy. Yeah.
How about that? New phone who dis is like, no, you can't. New phone you can't do anymore when you don't have the person's number saved.
I know.
What do you guys do now?
You know, I will just be like, you know, I'm going through a crazy thing with my phone. This is true. My phone doesn't display names right now.
Oh, is it an old phone? Is
No,
it,
it just-
like
I
just
just-
like a phone that the
Right now, if you
software's
look through my phone, it doesn't display anybody's names. Different days will have different people's names.
Oh, that's
Like if I go to text Ray, I'll go new text to Ray, but when you text me, it's not your name.
somebody else's name.
It's just your number.
Oh,
But if I
Oh.
want to text you, you're in my contacts as Ray. But if somebody texts me, just their number, I'd be like, who is this?
so how do you just don't know? You have to look
Yeah,
it
I have
up.
to look at contacts.
Oh, you gotta get
contacts
that
good.
fixed,
I know. I
Charles.
just don't get it fixed.
But I'm at the point where I just go, I'm an idiot. I don't have your number saved.
It's the best.
Yeah.
You immediately get out of it.
Yeah,
I haven't
Just-
got there yet.
Yeah.
I'll
oh,
text
really?
somebody for 20 minutes just
can't
trying to
say
do
no.
Oh
detective
my God,
work.
it's crazy.
Oh, I've done that. My old one, I told you my old one. It was, oh, hey. And then if the conversation goes long enough, I go, oh, by the way, what's your email? Because emails always have the name in it. So that's how
And then it's like Limp Biscuit
Yeah.
420
Yeah.
at hotmail.com.
Oh,
and
it's
you're like,
birthday boy 92.
it's like, wait, is this Fred Durst? Why did Fred Durst
Do I know
text
Fred
me?
Durst?
Karma Clown 43.
Yeah.
Well, you know
No,
what
it's
I have?
Charles.
I have a good Karma Clown.
Charles' dad.
I know him.
I have a
Show.
good sixth sense when I could tell when I see somebody that's kind of an acquaintance that doesn't know my name. I
Oh
have a
yeah.
good sixth sense with it, and I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put them in an awkward situation, so I'll make sure to tell a story where I'll be like, and then the guy goes, Raymond Paul Zawodni, you crazy bastard.
Social security number 114. That's a pretty good move, but it's a
That's-
long way to go. You
That's
gotta
a
follow
really
story.
nice move.
I know I think it's nice to them because I've had people that like you know when you try to do my move is when I have a friend and say like, oh, I know that bartender, I talk to him all the time, I don't remember his name, Sean, will you do me a favor? And then I'll be like, hey, this is and I'll be like, hey, Sean, what's your name? And you come in,
Yeah,
and
you
do
hear
one
it.
of those, and I'm like, thank you for doing
Yeah.
that because I
Yeah,
couldn't do
I've been
the
there.
intro,
Yeah.
and I'll set it up like that.
I'll do it where I'll enter the person and just walk away.
What?
I did it at the bar. I've done it. Megan has friends that I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I'm like, I know I think their name, most of their name, but I don't know if I have it off by a beat or something. Like it's not Gareth, it's Garrett or something like that. Right?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
go, oh, this is my buddy Ray. And then I just walk away. And then you say,
That's so
I'm Ray.
funny.
And he goes, I'm Garrett. You know, you're good to
And
meet
then you get the intel later if you need it.
You find out later.
Yeah.
Oh no! I'll hear it, but I'll move my body so I'm not doing the full intro.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'll be
wow.
like, somebody else will be right there, and if it's a social situation, like I'll be talking to them while I'm over here.
Oh, wow.
Can I ask you a
You
question?
plant a bug.
That's pretty crafty. Do you happen to own a pair of black leather gloves?
Come to think of it.
And a bunch of Claritin.
I gotta make sure the airwaves are clear.
I got my nose spray and a bunch of Claritin and knee pads. I get right under that.
He would be so pissed if he went through all the trouble and was like, my nose is stuffy. I can't smell
Again,
anything.
I forget it's like forgetting your headphones at the gym. What am I
That's
doing
why he
now?
had gloves on, because he didn't want COVID, because you lose your sense of smell.
Ooh.
Good point.
That's
Thank
the
you.
worst
Also,
guy to get COVID.
Thank God I'm not
Yeah.
a creep and not into feet because I have arthritis in my knees. That wouldn't be worth it. But you're right. Feet are. We talked about it last week. Feet are. We gotta get back into it. But it's like, man, think about the like, at that point, right? You wonder about the not the background. What would you call it? The evolution of that guy who got to the point of the part that you saw. It's like, how many things happen to that? It's like, it's nature, it's nurture, it's New York City.
Yeah.
It's fucked up relationship with sex. It's a unhealthy foot fetish. Because everybody always, that's the reason the foot fetish gets a bad rap. Is because it's always stories like
Yeah.
that. It's never like, hey, I'm just really, I admired your feet from afar, and I just really enjoy feet. And they're beautiful.
Can I take you out?
Yeah. It's never that with that shit.
We didn't ask this last time. Will you like rub your lady's feet? She had like a long day. Will you give her a foot massage?
My girlfriend's always, I would do that, I guess, but she's always worried about me getting tickled. She always thinks I'm going to tickle her under her arms, and I never am. She's like, ugh, ugh. And I'm like, you have to trust me at some point.
She's always kind of paranoid that you're gonna touch her armpits.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like I'll put my hand like near her, and she's like, dude.
I might start doing that to you next time you go to just like dap me up or shake my hand. Like, whoa, dude, you trying to tickle me? Trying to tickle me, bro?
But no, I would do it, I guess. But it's one of these things where it's like, that's one of those things that from the get go always had a bad bunch of people associated with it.
Yeah, I would rub her if she wanted. Yeah, but I'm just not at. Why do you? You rub your lady's toots?
She doesn't really want me to because of the ticklish thing. Like she's not like worried I'm gonna do it, but it would tickle when you do it. But I do it just because I would do it just because I know like feels good. Feels good to get your feet rubbed.
Maybe you have to. Well, certain people have a thing where don't touch my feet.
Well, you get a pedicure though.
You ever get a foot rub?
Yeah.
No, I never got.
I've
gotten a massage. I've had 2 massages in my life.
Two?
I've
In
never
this
had one.
neighborhood? They're everywhere. Kidding me?
Those are different, Charles.
Yeah. I've never had a professional massage.
You guys are crazy.
I've had 2 professional massages.
Why? Should I get one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like it'll hurt.
Yeah, I mean it hurts if they it hurts, but if you feel great, it hurt, and you come. So that's the best part.
Amateur massage.
Um,
I'm on the the minor circuit when it comes to massages.
you ever get a pedicure, mani pedi?
No,
Dude, you guys are. I was just like you.
There's so much more with it
straight.
Yeah.
now. We're learning so much from the Karma Clown.
Yeah. I teach lessons here at the Clown University.
I did just go completely Tim Allen 1990s. Nah, because we're straight men.
Well, I guess I'd be.
No, I want one. I'm just
they're,
poor.
they're great.
You
You just feel great.
really?
You look. Let's stop the pod. Go get a pedicure. Come back. You're gonna be talking about feet, but in a positive
How
light.
often do you get them? Once ever in a blue moon?
Yeah, but like
How much do they cost? They're putting up.
they're like as much as a massage. They're like and depending on where you go, it's like $30 to $60. But they're amazing.
Do you want to go get pedicures?
I'll do it.
They're
for the pod.
they do like your whole legs too, and you sit in a massage chair. They put you like in a massage chair, so you're getting massaged, and then they put like the hot, and then it's like it's like your feet are in a hot tub basically, but it's somebody.
Do you know any in Astoria that you recommend?
There's a place I get massages at Astoria that's like a old 60-year-old guy who beats the shit out of my back, and and they do foot rubs there. So if it's that same guy, I would recommend Spring Body Work.
Okay.
There's massage places everywhere. Some of them are the places, but some of them are real.
I'd be part of our wellness program for the pod.
Yes.
Because we already got tans.
We got spray tans before.
When?
When it was over the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
summer.
I was gonna
A
say
place
not
that's-
recent.
No, not
That
really.
was a
but
joke.
I
place
think I still carry a pretty good tan, Charles.
It's gone now.
Um,
It's gone. The place we went to.
is it
Roses, whatever it's called. Yeah.
You should if you are trying to do well, I highly recommend it because I didn't get a pedicure. I think I went to Thailand when I was 20 and I got the fish in a bucket. One of those. You ever do that? Put your foot in a bucket full of fish and they suck your feet off.
Nope. No thanks.
No, come on,
You know,
guys.
I went to Aruba
Come
once
on.
with a comic. You guys know? I don't know if you know who Joey Cola is. Really funny comic from Long
Joey
Island.
Cola?
You know
Yeah.
Joey Cola.
Uh-uh.
Been around forever. Hilarious.
I opened
Does
for
warm
him
up for
at Uncle
Rachel
Vinny's.
Ray. What?
I opened for him at Uncle Vinny's.
He's a
Remember?
great guy. Yeah. And anyway, he had a thing. Not to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No,
but
go for it.
He brought a bag of loaf
fish?
of bread. No,
Oh.
bread to the ocean in the ocean with us, and then takes a little piece of bread out and goes, "Watch this. Check this. Is so cool." And he puts it right above the water, like right into the water, and about 400 fish just come up and try to grab the bread and like start nibbling at your fingers. The minute I felt it, I was like, "Nope!" I just dropped the bread. I was like, "Fuck this. I'm done." It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
So I assume the reason I bring it up, I assume that's how that feels.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, we were drunk and it was on like the 30th, like the crazy strip in Thailand on I forgot what it's called.
You went to
Koh San Road or something like that. Yeah, when I was 20 with like 4 friends. It's so cheap. So you just like go and you go crazy. And everybody there is like 20. They're all in their gap year. But one night I think we were just hammered and there was a lady who was like, foot. And my friend did it. And I was like, okay. And then all the fish are just eating the stuff off your foot.
And it feels great? Or are you like
Yeah, it feels
grossed out at
fine.
first and then you get used to it?
Yeah, I think at first it's more of a buddy thing because you're like eating bugs over there and you're fucking lady boys and you're like, all right, may as well.
Yeah.
This isn't the weirdest thing.
Yeah, Donnelly's all worried about the fish. It's like I got fucked in my ass last night.
It's so funny. He had like a shopping list and just throws Ladyboy right in the middle of it. He's like, you know, the fish on your feet. You're eating exotic foods. Really great scenery. You fucking ladyboys. You're also you're in
What'd
a
you say?
car most of the time.
You're in a car most of the time. Travel's cheap.
It's like how like a parent that can't handle confrontation and they're like so I did pack your lunch for tomorrow when you go to school. I think you got to go there a little bit early. Me and your dad are getting divorced. And I DVR'd your favorite cartoon.
Futurama's on, okay?
You've never been to Thailand? Have you been to Asia? I want to go to Japan, to be honest.
Japan's cool.
Have you been to Japan?
No, but it looks amazing.
It looks awesome, and that's my new goal is to make enough cash so I can go to Japan. Japan and Australia. That's my two. I'm just gonna start naming places.
Yeah.
I want to go to Switzerland, I think.
That would be.
My lady's going there this
I went to the Middle East once before comedy, and I went because I was like, it was good enough money, but I was like, I'm never gonna spend my own money to go to the Middle East.
I want to go to Vegas.
That's doable.
I know. I've been there before.
Oh.
Just feel like going again.
He's like, I'm going to Philadelphia. I'm from Pittsburgh.
It is actually. You know where I want to go? I want to go to Krakow, Poland.
Why is that?
Well, I am of Polish
Polish?
ethnicity, and I had a friend who's a very well traveled guy. Said top 3 places he's ever been to in his life: Krakow, Poland.
Wow.
He said, don't get all caught up in the hype of Warsaw.
What? Well, you know all those Polish podcasts I listen to.
I know
I
how
talk
you
about Warsaw all the time, and I'm like, please. I'm so over Warsaw.
Oh, you mean the Warsaw Rolls podcast? Yeah. No thanks, dude.
No, another thing I hear is St. Petersburg, because I think most of Russia, I think, is kind of probably a shithole. Let's be honest. Most people never come back from other parts of Russia, and go, that was gorgeous. But St. Petersburg is supposed to be like unbelievable. It's supposed to be insane.
Yeah. The people there in Russia are so nice.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely don't get shot at. Actually, there's not.
I would not thrive in Russia. You know, I think being like the person that is like squeezing past people going, sorry, excuse me.
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They would take
It'd be like being in jail.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what is this? Sorry. What are you doing? What is this word that you're doing? We don't say that here. They don't have a Russian word for
What
it.
is sorry?
When Russian
kill
people,
you.
Russian people reminisce, it's like a horrible story. Even when they're like, "Oh, back in we all pissed in the same pot," and you're like, "Oh my god!" I used to have a Russian barber in Arizona. He used to get nostalgic with me, and I was like,
This
"You
is
had a
rough.
horrible childhood."
The
He's like,
staircase used to be covered in blood.
Yeah.
It was always covered
we
in
would
blood.
slide down it. and you're like,
There's a reason you came here. You know
Yeah.
this, right? Charles, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
Before
yeah.
we go, we got to get a little plug situation going on.
Oh, sure. I got a great podcast as well. It's called Overshadowed. We talk about the siblings of infamous and famous people throughout history. It's very fun. You can follow me at Charles_Engle on all platforms, and you can catch me at 31st and Crescent. I just moved.
But also, don't you have a weekly show?
I do. I have two. If you're in New York, I run a show called Freestyle Comedy. It's Tuesdays at the Bowery Electric in Manhattan, and now we're back on Thursdays at LIC Tonsorial right off of Steinway stop in Queens.
That's back.
We're back. I may move it to Fridays again just because the crowds were better, but we only had our first one back. So,
Nice.
yeah, if you're in New York, come to those shows. They're great. They're very cheap. One of them's free.
Yeah,
Awesome.
check those out. Both really fun.
As far as the
Hang out
pod
there.
goes, Ray?
Far as the brand new Jerks, you can catch us every single Thursday wherever you stream your podcast or watch full episodes on YouTube. We're always sharing clips at Brand New Jerks Pod on TikTok and on our separate Instagrams. You could find Shawnee on Instagram at
Shawnee time.
and me at Ray B Killing 'em. Please, if you ever want to hear a topic discussed, in regards to people pleasing, conflict, or just fucking something, or feet.
Or feet.
Apparently, we've been
Turn
talking
into a feet
lot about-
podcast.
This
Turn
is turning
Turn
into a
this thing
foot
into
fetish
fish feet.
podcast. But yeah, email us brandnewjerks@gmail.com. Till next week.
And
Let's
Charles,
get
at
on
the
out
end,
of
we do an awkward handshake at the end of the.
here. There we go. That's a good one. That's the,
Right into
that's
the
the
camera,
worst
boy.
one yet.
Whammy.
Oh. Thanks so much for doing it. We'll
Yeah,
see you
thank
next
you,
Thanks for
buddy.
having me. Great
Bye,
time.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.